Hi there. Right. Expecting a couple more, but it's 7 o'clock. I'll start. So welcome all this evening to the presentation. I'm going to talk about the Young Leaders in Cricket program. If you just want to mute your mics, then that'll prevent any interference. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the program, and I'm going to talk about these three particular qualities: life skills, leadership, and volunteering. Those will be the key words that will kind of crop up during the presentation, and they are all being packaged up when we put it together. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Chris Whitaker. I'm the program manager for the Young Leaders in Cricket program. Been doing it for a while now. We started it about 14 years ago, and to date have put about 3,000 young people through the program. So we've built up quite a bit of experience and understanding of what works and what doesn't. So, like I said, the areas we've identified are life skills, leadership, and then putting those together so that the young person can volunteer effectively and kind of meaningfully, either in their club or at their school or in their community. And we are keen that it's volunteering for if you like, a bigger purpose than just specifically at the club. But that's their choice. And when we talk about volunteering, I suppose the question always is, what's it all about? And it's something that really comes from within, rather than something that you can be taught to do. I've been involved in volunteering pretty much in every way, shape, or form. Cricket's, as you probably gather, is one of my passions. So it's tended to be, coaching, being on committees, umpiring, scoring, all doing all those kinds of things. And it's something that's given me a lot of self-fulfillment, which is why I was keen to start a program to try and reach out to younger people and say, look, this is something really interesting, good to do, and a way you can contribute and help develop yourself personally. So what I'll do is, just to keep this interesting, if you go to well, either you can scan the QR code and go directly, or go onto your mobile and put in that web address. So looking back at the previous slide and the images you see there, give me some idea what you think are the leadership qualities that stood out for you from those. And let's have a quick kind of review of them, if you do. So have a go at, like I said, either scan the QR code and just put it in, or go to that web address and on your mobile or smartphone that you should be able to get in. If you're struggling, just let me know. I'm guessing from the no responses, you're not getting in. Any luck? Just give me a shout if you're not. Hi guys, are you still there? Can you just unmute and say yes?
Yeah, still here. I couldn't use the QR code. I'm just trying to type in the address though. So.
Okay, all right. Sometimes it gives a problem and doesn't.
Yeah, likewise with myself.
Okay,
Same with me.
Hopefully you'll get in. It's just a bit of fun to kind of see, as I say, looking at those images, what they bring to mind in terms of the leadership life skills side of things. Aha, excellent. Okay, yeah, well, absolutely. So you've pretty much nailed it there. The decision making and the teamwork, specifically in those ones, are two of the biggies. And the helping others to develop is very much a life skill. So the leadership part is around the decision making. Teamwork's something that you gain as a benefit from it. And then helping others to develop is certainly one of the life skills. Okay, thanks for doing that. So if we just look at the wider purpose of life skills, well, there's certainly things that you can take on into any other walk of life. So wherever you go to from here, whether that's into higher education or into vocational training or even directly into the job market, these are all skills that you can take with you, and they're all ones that are very pertinent to self-development. So things like time management, certainly being able to manage yourself and do it in a responsible way, but also things like the fairness and integrity part, which come from this sportsmanship or from building relationships. So that's the kind of purpose of the program, and that's was why we wanted to package these things up, to give young people the opportunity then to volunteer meaningfully. Okay, so the purpose is, as I've pretty much said there, we did target it at the 14, 15, 16-year-old age group for a particular reason, and that was because it's years 9 and 10 at school, and it's you're not into the A levels, but yet when obviously your lives become very full of plenty of other things academically. So it's that you've got the chance to be able to do the modules on the program and do the volunteering and do the fundraising, which I'll talk about a bit longer. So that was particularly why we aimed it at that age group, but also it's this sort of age group where, and this I learned from my coaching experience, that 14, 15 is when you're kind of changing, if you like, from a young person into an adult, and you're starting to have to make decisions for yourself and that kind of thing. So programs targeted that in that manner. The bit about retaining young people in volunteering, well, that again is a kind of long-term ambition, if you like, of most team sports, because they rely, we're talking about recreational sport, very much on people giving up their time and volunteering. So this is to try and, if you like, give the understanding of what it is to be involved in running a sports club. The other really important bit was, and this is from a kind of broader context, was about trying to increase the gender and the diversity base of the young volunteers who coming into the game, and that's because the game of cricket has changed massively in the last 10, 15 years, and certainly in terms of gender, the explosion in girls cricket and women's cricket has been huge, but it's not probably yet reflected in the right proportion, if you like, within the kind of administration of the game, and certainly within club life. That's still not it's not demonstrated. And really, if we want the game to change and systemically, you need to have females making decisions about their own game, about the female cricket. So that's also part of the purpose of it. And it's also to widen the diversity of the game, because again, it took the ECB a long time to understand that almost a quarter of the playing membership was made up from different ethnic groups. So again, we need to reflect that in the volunteering side. So the way we make the program sustainable is through fundraising, and I'll talk about that a bit later, but the kind of purpose of that is to demonstrate the wider kind of societal benefits that cricket bring, and cricket does have a very good background and has a good track record, if you like, in raising money for charities and causes, as you've probably seen on Red for Ruth Day, or in Australia when they do the Pink Day for Glenn McGrath's wife. So as I said, it's a well-established way of fundraising. So the program, and this is the kind of nuts and bolts of it, it's made up of 4 face-to-face modules with 2 online workshops or modules, which kind of progress the potential, if you like, of the young person. As I said, it's aimed at years 9 and 10. And it very much takes the leadership and life skill characteristics which are there in cricket every time you play or get involved in the game, and some of them we know very well. You know, certainly teamwork, the fact that you're playing a team sport, but you know your individual performance is important. Are all the sorts of values and characteristics. The values come from the kind of fairness and integrity of the sport, which it does obviously get called into question at times, but you know overall, certainly at amateur level, cricket is played in with the right kind of spirit, and we're unique in a sport that has actually the code written into the laws of the game. And I talked about the retention bit, important. It is a unique scheme, leadership scheme and volunteering program. And we do try and broaden it out a bit by offering additional kind of learning, added learning, if you like, which is entirely voluntary for the young person to attend. So we run sort of online stuff. And last year we did one with Meg Lay, was the first female groundskeeper to prepare an international wicket, which she did up at Edgbaston for the women's ODI, using an entirely female groundskeeping team, which was a first in the world, actually. So for cricket, anyway. And it was a brilliant kind of initiative and demonstration that things are changing. The people who overlook it, myself included, are mostly volunteers ourselves. So we do give up quite a bit of our management time for to the program to really just make it sustainable and possible to carry on each year. Okay, so just talking a little bit about leaders in particular. So the leadership side of this is important, and there are just 2 people from cricket that I picked out, just because they have interesting backstories and are kind of people of note. So Meg Lanning is a great example of someone, and she stepped down from the being skipper of Australia, but I'm sure you all know Australia's been women's cricket has been a winning machine for the last 10 years. And when she came into the job, I'm not trying to remember who it was who stepped down, so it's just gone out of my head. But there was a kind of gap there, and they hadn't really identified anyone who was going to take over the role. And she was a 20-year-old, and they'd identified that she had leadership qualities and potential. So they brought her into the role, and she had to kind of learn on the job. So I read an interview about it, and she said, well, the main thing she'd learned from being a player was the trust and relationship side of it. So she knew as a captain that you're going to have to try and balance the side. You have to have people with different strengths and weaknesses in there, and you need to try and create that bond of trust and build a relationship from that. And obviously she did it incredibly successfully, because not only was she still performing, scoring tons of runs, she was led a really successful side. So that quote from Jonathan Batty probably sums it up really well. If you're from Surrey, then obviously Jonathan Batty very well, or England. And similarly, Virat Kohli, another really interesting character, is again, he's not skippering now, but he did for a long time. But his when he talked about leadership, he said he was very much talking about the values that he brought as a leader. And he said, one of the things is you have to live your lifestyle. You have to live your values. You can't have a lifestyle that suddenly flip-flops from one thing to the other, and then try and instill those values in your team as a leader or as a captain. And then he talked about you can be smart and great tactician, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're a great leader. And he showed them humility about. He said, I still learn from other people all the time. People I look up to, I'm prepared to take what they're saying on board and improve my leadership. So I know if you know Virat Kohli, he very much wears his heart on his sleeve. He's a passionate person. When he's on the field of play, the cameras love quickly cutting to his expression when anything happens, because he tends to be living the game out minute by minute. So those are just two different types of leaders, and like I said, we tried to sort of embody all those characteristics from that into the program in one way or another. Okay, so the training and the modules and the timings for them, and this is kind of where the parents or carers are interested in this, and what I'd say is what we've tried to do is to make the opportunities for training, we've spread it out over a period of time, and then we've tried to offer a number of different venues as well as times. So like I said, there are 4 face-to-face modules, and they're two online. They're all, the face-to-face ones are about 3 hours each, and the online ones are an hour. So the training is comprehensive. It's all accredited by different kinds of bodies. So it's it's good content that's been developed over the time by the different bodies. And in terms of the dates, so the online obviously starts from the February half term and then runs for about 6 weeks in the evenings during the week. So there are lots of opportunities to log on and do the course. Both the workshops are run by highly skilled people in the 2 particular fields, the one being the mental resilience, and the other one being the fundraising using social media. So they're both people who have worked in this field for a long time and understand how to get the messaging across in a positive way and a way that works for young people. So the face-to-face, they run during the Easter holidays. So over the 2 weeks, they'll, as I say, be at different venues and at different times. And how we like to do it is to run the YCO. Sorry, I should maybe just give you a bit more detail there. So the activators module, which is about the coaching, I'll talk a little bit more about them, and then the umpiring and scoring one. So we try and group those 2 together. And then the groundskeeping with environmental awareness and the first aid training together as well. So essentially, if it all works and you can attend them, then you can complete the training in 2 days. Full on, that would be sort of 9:30 till 4:30 type day. But it works well if that's how you want to do it, and then you can do the online kind of over the period of time. We also run the face-to-face courses in the May half term. So if you're away for some of the Easter holidays and unable to make it, then there's the May half term, and then we do some mop-up courses at the beginning of the school holidays. Obviously, the groundskeeping one we do from the half term, the May half term, because the weather's just about okay then. Although I delivered one this year, which was in absolute freezing cold, despite it being early May. So so lots of opportunities to do it. And in terms of venues, the same thing. We try and offer different venues. Okay, so just a little quick run through on what the courses are and why they kind of what they are. So the Junior Activator one is very much predicated around the explosion, if you like, in All Stars, in young people. These are the 5 to 8 year olds coming into the game. And as you know, the program, or even if you don't, the program has been hugely successful and attracted a lot of new young people to the game. And this is to try and, so obviously it's great bringing lots of young people along to the club to attend these sessions, but coaches and helpers and activators are required for this. So this module is very much about the technical bit, but it's also about the soft skills side. So we teach you, about the activities and try and get you to create some of your own activities so that you understand about when you're working with young people, and say these 5 to 8 year olds, that they're not all going to be of similar ability. They're not all going to be of necessarily have the skills to be able to do these things. So you're going to be able to, you're designing activities to introduce them to the game of cricket, and playing different formats of the game. But then there's the bit around the communication, about, again, building those relationships, but also most importantly, keeping it safe and making it enjoyable for them. So you can see lots of different life skills in there. The relationship building, the communication, the organizing yourself to be there ready to help deliver the sessions. But then also, the technical side, understanding how the game works and being able to facilitate safe and interesting activities. So the activator part, the other great thing is this is about role models, okay? Because a 14, 15-year-old communicating and interacting with a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old has a real powerful effect on them. And don't forget, these are young people coming into the game for the first time, and most of them, it's going to be the first organized practice session, if you call it that, or activity session that they'll be attending. So your interaction with them as a smiling and welcoming 14, 15-year-old will have a big impression on them. And that's how you create role models. The YCO course, it's the Young Cricket Officials. So this is about the umpiring and scoring side, or officiating side, as we call it. Again, it's not a kind of full-on umpiring course, and at the end of it, all 39 laws of the game, and etc. 39, 42, and it's more about giving you the confidence to be able to umpire junior cricket. So as things stand, you can't umpire in adult cricket till you're over 16, but you can certainly umpire and officiate junior cricket. So this gives you enough of the understanding of the laws of the game, and kind of how to manage on-field activity. And quite a bit of it's about people management. It's also about ensuring that the people playing the game are enjoying it, and you're making it enjoyable for them. So we cover lots of different areas. That the scoring part is it's online. It's the Play Cricket Scorer app, which you can do on a tablet or on your smartphone. It's massively intuitive, and it's really fun to use because it's got far more possibilities in terms of what the sort of information you can extract from it than you can from the scorebook. So we teach you the kind of basics around scoring and understanding, but what it has done, the online scoring, has made it hugely more accessible for anybody to score. And the one thing cricket needs is a scorer. Okay, it's one of the sports. I'm talking about this sort of away from here, about I think it really is the only sport that you absolutely have to have a scorer for. Baseball probably would be the other one, and possibly basketball, just because there's so many sports. But football, rugby, etc., hockey, you play it and people keep score whilst they're playing. Cricket, after the first over, you're kind of lost. So if you haven't got someone actually scoring each ball, you're struggling. So massively important role. I want to talk here at this point about pathways and opportunities that emerge from this. So if you're interested in carrying on your umpiring or scoring or coaching or groundskeeping, or indeed any of the other elements of this, the pathways that are offered by the county boards for you to go on to do kind of incremental learning, so that you can build up your knowledge and then become fully accredited. But also, once you've kind of done this program, you become bluntly a valuable asset to your club or your school to deliver sessions, and certainly once you've completed your volunteering and you're now coming back for the second year, you'll find there are lots of paid opportunities at clubs to deliver summer camps, work with in junior cricket and all those kinds of things. So this does lead to opportunities to, certainly if you go on into higher education and you're trying to fund yourself, this is a great way to do it. It's outdoors, it's doing something you enjoy, rather than possibly something that you're not enjoying sitting indoors. So bear that in mind. That is one of the kind of spin-off benefits of the program. So the groundskeeping and environmental awareness side of it is, again, another kind of really important element, certainly of cricket and club life. Most clubs absolutely rely on people to preparing their surfaces, and most clubs rely on volunteers to do it, purely because the cost of doing full-scale ground preparation can become, for a small village club, just not possible, not feasible, and unsustainable. So having volunteers helping out with it is really important. Now, again, we're not going to teach you how to be a full-on groundskeeper, but what we'll give you is enough understanding and knowledge of practical skills, things where you can contribute. So regardless of the size of club that you're at, if you can contribute to helping with the groundskeeping side of it, it's also an understanding of the kind of surfaces that we play on and how important they are to us as a sport. We're absolutely reliant on a good surface in order to produce a decent game of cricket. So the better the surface, the better the playing experience. But it's very much, you get out as much as you put in. And for a grounds person doing it, and I've been involved in the side of it, it's you basically can, it's a black hole of the amount of work you can do. And there's at some point you have to stop, and that's it. So if you've got someone who's helping you, you can spend more time on the kind of expert side of it, producing the great surfaces, than having to do all the other bits, around the watering, the marking up of the pitch, some of the grass cutting, that kind of stuff. So having people help, that is really important. Now, we've connected this particular module up to environmental awareness as well, because cricket obviously has an impact on the environment. We spend our time basically creating a monoculture, which we then, cutting down, letting grow, cutting down, using fossil fuel powered machinery to do the work. So we have an impact, and we need to try and find ways of mitigating it. And, talking to your generation is really, really important. So we show the kind of, if you like, the combination of cricket and the environment, and how do we mitigate it, and how do we look forward to making ways that cricket can actually contribute positively, which it can, because one of the big pluses it has is around biodiversity, for example, which, as you know, is, in terms of carbon capture, is one of the great areas that we can work with. So, we try and make that as interesting and give you a challenge to see that if you can work with it. And then we work also with an outside provider who runs something called Planet Earth Games, which you might look up on the web if you like. Okay, the next, and this is really a kind of, if you like, one of the fundamental life skills, is first aid. We give you the full 3-hour first aid course that a qualified coach does. Importantly, because within sport, as many first aid trained up people that we can have, the better. And obviously in wider society, that's also a massively important thing. So we give you the training, we teach you the CPR side of it, we teach you how to work with the defibrillators, and then recognizing and treating kind of small injuries, but the main thing is learning how to react and cope with it, which is what that sidebar that you can read there is about. That's a story of a young person a couple of years ago who was able to react in a situation that basically saved somebody's life, because he'd, ironically, done the program a couple of weeks before, and he just felt that, because I spoke to him afterwards about it, and he's a very kind of shy, diffident young person, and he said it just gave me the confidence to be able to deal with the situation, because I felt I knew enough to be able to do that. So yeah, it was, for us anyway, as the program delivers, a fantastic outcome, that something a life skill we'd given somebody had made such a big difference. And then over the years, we've had about 3 or 4 events where young people have intervened and either prevented something, getting to the point where it became critical, to actually saving lives. So yeah, it's a great one, which is why we support cardiac risk in the young, which you'll see is one of the one of the companies down the bottom there. Okay, so how do we fund the program? And this is important, because what we've tried to do, and this was right from the start, when we put the thing together, we were really keen that it was not so costly that nobody could afford to come onto it, because that kind of defeated the purpose of it. We didn't want it to be an elite type of program that only certain people could afford. So we thought about all kinds of different ways of trying to keep the costs down, and this is without having to go out to external fundraisers, which always puts you at risk. So we came up with the idea of trying to balance out the joining fee along with the fundraising. And when the more we thought about fundraising and its role that it plays within community sport, the more it kind of seemed to us that it was the two just fitted really nice together. So we asked you to pay a £70 joining fee, and then to fundraise the 60, which is about the cost of each young leader it costs us to put them through the program. So the fundraising part is why it's important is because most community clubs don't cover their costs through subscriptions, just because the cost of running cricket is more costly perhaps than some other sports. So we decided to come up with something that was useful, practical, but also gave a bit of training, which I'll just talk a little bit more about that. Any excess we make, and sometimes we do because just of the way that way that it works out, we donate a percentage of that to cardiac risk in the young and sorry, the Ruth Strauss Foundation, the other one. And over the years, in terms of the additional money raised by young people on the program, it's amounted to around, in fact, this year it's £70,000 now, because it was 10,000 last year. So, you know, and that's only the money we know of. So we ask you to raise 60, and anything more you raise goes to whichever charity of your choice that you decide. If you decide cardiac risk in the young or Strasse 2 that you want to support, then great. But the young people have been really good at doing this, and I'll explain why. So that's what we do. What we do ask is that you work as a group. Okay, this was something we learned kind of fairly early on, and if you have been involved at your club in fundraising capacity, it's something that people find very difficult. Okay, you need to probably be of a certain kind of makeup to do fundraising on your own. However, working as a group, it becomes a completely different thing. It then becomes a project. It becomes something that you can manage, so you get other people involved with. So again, it helps you develop lots of very useful skills. And what it does do is it ensures that, you know, the next generation of young leaders can come on the program and benefit from it. The insight bit, well, you'll get that from, you know, understanding this is how you have to fundraise. This is how you do it. This is how you can do it in an enjoyable way that, you know, is useful for everybody. So there's some ideas of, you know, and there are any number of them. There's some of the life skills I've put on there. We use Spond as part of our communications platform, and on there, and probably you do already, but on there they've got a fundraising platform that you could use as one method of it. But we do in the workshop that we deliver, that's the FOMO creator one down there. She does. She explains exactly how it works, what free tools there are out there to access to help create campaigns and various things. So they're just some ideas. Those are the ones from 21, 22, all kinds of ideas. Plant sales. The one on the left there was a club day that they did. These two youngsters in the bottom left-hand corner. You know, everything from having a baking table to holding a mum's and dad's versus mums versus daughters and dads versus sons, six-a-side tournament. The biggest thing that came out of it, interestingly, talking to the chair of the club, was he said it just brought a whole lot of people back to the club. So it was, you know, just had brilliant knock-on effects for them. And the young people, those two young lads that did it, got so much out of putting it together. But you got things like bowl-offs there in the nets, which is a brilliant way of raising money quickly, because it's almost like a 50-50. If you don't hit the stump, then you're out, kind of thing. Yeah, and there are a whole lot more ideas. So, you know, these were kids last year doing, young people, doing all kinds of different fundraising activities, working as a group. Some of them did individual challenges as part of a group. There were two young girls who did a batathon, which got a lot of publicity. Unfortunately, not on here, but they did it was a 24-hour batathon and raised in the end about £1,500 from it. So it's all great stuff. And like I said, a lot of them were raising extra money for different projects at their clubs or projects for different sorts of charities. Okay, so in terms of the volunteering, so we asked for 20 hours of volunteering as part of the program. And you obviously at your club will have lots of opportunities from, you know, say doing the sort of junior coaching role, working in the junior teams. And it's not just coaching, you can do plenty of other things, match management, working with the different people who run the junior section, as well as umpiring and scoring, as well as helping out with your groundskeeper, and possibly even, you know, setting up a social media account for for your club. So lots of different ideas in terms of the volunteering. You don't have to stick to one or two. Because we record the hours, we get recorded hours back. We know that the average is about 35 hours. Most young people do, mostly because they just enjoy it once they get into it and start doing it. So, during the summer, it's an excellent thing to do. So I don't think that you'll find 20 hours just disappears really easily. And if you want to, beyond this, go on to doing volunteering in different formats, or carrying on into different areas, there's nothing to stop you. And cricket has quite a few programs that they run overseas. So Beyond the Boundaries, one of them, where they run coaching programs in Africa, but also just within your community, helping out, helping clean up the environment on the beaches, which we know is one of the areas of where there's a lot of waste and plastics that need to be cleaned up. So yeah, the volunteering side can, if it's something that's within you, and I presume that's why you're here tonight, you're interested, you want to know more about it, then there are lots of other opportunities to carry on with it. Okay, so if you've decided now you'd like to sign up to the program, then that's kind of the expectations from our side. And the first thing is we really do want you to enjoy it. We do want you to get the self-fulfillment out of it. But we do know that you benefit from learning a lot more about not just about yourself, but also about the game and understanding the game better. And the kind of all the great outcomes that's come from teamwork and working together, on the program, because generally it's a cohort of you that do it. We asked you to put back the 20 hours of volunteering, which you get signed off. And like I said, certainly most young leaders do more than 20 hours. And then the fundraising bit. And again, say you raise the first 60, which comes to us, and then beyond that point, you can decide where you want the additional money to go. And as I said, there's two charities that we support. And then we just ask you to commit once you've signed up. And what we ask is the parent or carer or guardian to sign a pledge along with the young person and with the club or organization that's offering the volunteering hours, just so that we've got a three-way kind of support structure for the young person. So that, the young person commits to kind of attending the different modules and doing the volunteering and the fundraising, and the parent or guardian or carer just supplies a bit of the kind of support and a bit of motivation and that kind of thing, just so that the young person knows there's someone's kind of got their back, as it were. And then whoever's supplying the volunteering hours, we want to make sure they're committing to offering them. So at the end of it, if you complete the program, there's a completion certificate, which all those different modules are. Each one has a certificate along with it, and you get the completion module if you do the whole program. So it's something to acknowledge the effort you've put in and kind of the reward for that. So that's the summary, and the way the interviews obviously is tonight. So you go online, sign up at cricketleaders.org.uk, and then you sign the pledge. Register, pay that initial fee. And then once we start releasing the courses, and we will do that certainly within the next few weeks. But what you can do, put in your diaries at the Easter holidays and the May half term, there will be courses running then. We'll be confirming those just as soon as we can, once we've done all the liaising with the county boards, with the venues and that kind of thing. And then, then the idea is that by the end of May, you kind of got all the skills, and then you can do the volunteering up till the end of September. and then we do a sort of little celebration either October or early November to say thank you and award your certificates and do that kind of thing. So there's a kind of a flow to it, if you like. The communication part. So, like I said, we use Spond as the app, and you can book onto that. You're given a kind of real-time update on which courses you've attended, which ones you still need to do, and all the communication with our admin person is through the app. So you've got, it's just a good route to communicate with. Probably your club is already on there. If it isn't, then when you join, we sign you up onto the app, and you then get all your comms through that. The website carries the information as well, just as a backup. Those are people we work with, just so you get an idea. It's we work with a lot of different people to make the program what it is. And then, like I said, at the end of it, we run a small award ceremony. We try and do it as kind of local. We get someone along from different areas of cricket to come along and present the certificates and say thank you. So there's the QR code. If you want to scan that, and you can go directly into the join up page.